Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 7th of November. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you an overview of what we can all expect collectively, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail each of the signs from Aries through to Pisces and the key influences for each of those. Now, this week sees on Tuesday a total lunar eclipse, an event which is going to provide an influence for the next 6 months. Now, the sign of Taurus where this occurs is actually where the moon is rather happy. It's exalted in the sign of Taurus, so it's its second favourite location after being domiciled in the sign of Cancer, but it's very close to the planet of disruption, Uranus. And if you recall, over the last couple of years, Uranus and the planet of restriction, Saturn, in the sign of the collective, Aquarius, have off and on been grating in an attritional and stressful right angle called a square. Now that threads its way through this event. Now, we also have close to the Moon and Uranus the North Node, a very significant point in terms of our collective destiny. But on the other side of the heavens, we have the Sun, Mercury and Venus all in Scorpio. The significance of the cluster in Taurus, the cluster in Scorpio and the position of Saturn is they're all in fixed signs. Fixed signs prefer continuity. They're happier with knowing how things are, maintaining a degree of stability. So Uranus is pushing us to be more outspoken about our rights in terms of our self-worth. So we're seeing a lot of protest and dissent, but also we're seeing the cost of living crisis, and a lot of that is because the second house of Taurus governs food and food distribution. Now obviously we also have the sign of Taurus being an earth sign, very much about the environment and the cost of utilities to heat our homes, to cook with, to light our homes as well. All these are hot topics. So the way people are relating to the right angle between Uranus and Saturn, and have been over the last couple of years, whether it's big government, big business, individuals, collective associations, such as citizens, finding an outlet through social media, or perhaps union output, is that everybody has a different take on how they want changes to occur. And it's obvious that some kind of reset is occurring, and we need to try to adapt to deal with this, and it's really not easy. Now, concurrent to this, the two rulers of the sign of Scorpio are in conflict, Mars and Pluto. So Pluto's in the part of the horoscope that's to do with wanting to maintain the old world order, so big government, big business. But Mars is in the part of the zodiac which is to do with how we think and articulate our ideas, but it's now in retrograde. But they're not on good terms. So this adds to the strident mix that's bubbling up. Also, Mars is in a right angle to Neptune, the planet of dreams and the ephemeral world. And this is creating a lot of illusions, a lot of dishonesty, quite honestly. And we're finding that more and more stories about corruption and dishonesty, particularly around money and people looking out for their friends when they have influence, or we're also seeing sexual impropriety. A lot of stories are coming to the open. So all of this is going to be quite a feature over the next 6 months. But please stay with me as I decipher all of this for each of your 12 zodiac signs. But if you would like to understand what year 2023 will hold for you as an individual based on Sirius astrology, and rise above your zodiac forecast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can produce your forecast for next year. And in my special package, you get the rest of this year free, and also your life roadmap, your character analysis, which helps you to understand some of the patterns that have repeated themselves, perhaps more difficult energies, but also help you to have greater understanding of your opportunities. And there's 30% off. Please see the link below. Finally, if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining me. I'd love it if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you're an ongoing viewer, thank you so much for all your support. So Gemini, your week commencing the 7th of November forecast continues to see Mars in your sign in retrograde, forging that very draining link with Neptune, which means that some of the plans that you've really been building momentum on earlier in the summer could seem to be slowing down a little bit, possibly in terms of your professional situation. Maybe it's money, where trying to toggle what you need as an individual of what's available to you in where you collaborate, that also can be creating frustration due to Mars and Pluto's clash in a quincunx. But the eclipse for you potentially can bring to the surface some of those edgy energies which have just been bubbling away inside of you over the last few years. If you have found it harder to sleep, if you have felt a bit stressed, if there has been a sense there's been too much adrenaline rushing around you, it wouldn't be a surprise. Mercury, your ruler, the Sun and Venus are asking you to focus on the physical domain, but the Moon and Uranus and the North Node are asking you to think about your emotional, spiritual and psychological domain. But obviously Saturn in your 9th house can amplify any restrictions that you're feeling, whether they are to do with your energy, to do with the commitments and demands that you have towards other people. If you feel there is a lack of appreciation for you, where you are being especially sacrificing and giving to others, this could be a good time to just try to tune more into your own needs. A little bit of withdrawal isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it could be in your professional situation where you may become more conscious of the people who don't necessarily have your best interest at heart. So those players that can be a bit sneaky, a bit conniving, but won't necessarily come out and say it to your face, there could be some of that energy around you at the moment. So I feel when it comes to matters of trust and sincerity, it is a time to proceed with a degree of caution and do protect yourself. But I feel you may be the one who's going to let others know about something you found very unsatisfactory, or it could be others that you're sort of feeling are not necessarily telling you what some of their issues are with you, but there can be a sense that the atmosphere is in some way a little bit more tense or edgy than usual.